After 9 years of being in love, when Ethan Carter cheated on me, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. He said he was going out with his friends to drink. It was pouring rain that night, and I drove out to pick him up. Instead, I saw him passionately kissing Sophia, who was wearing a white dress. She was clinging to him, her eyes sparkling with joy. Tears streamed down my face as I trembled and dialed his number. The man on the other end of the line had one arm around Sophia and answered the phone with the other. "Honey, what do you want?" His voice was filled with flattery and joy. "It's raining," he said. "Does my wife want me to come home early? I'll tell the old guys I'm not drinking anymore and come home to you right away." I took a deep breath and tried to regain my composure. "You guys finally got together, don't ruin the mood. I'll pick you up later." He made a "mooah" sound, making Sophia angry and turned her back to him. He kept saying, "Thank you, wife," to me while trying to calm down the jealous Sophia. After hanging up, Sophia angrily pushed Ethan Carter away and got into a taxi, leaving the bar. Ethan Carter entered the bar. I got out of the car and followed him inside. Inside, there was constant teasing. Ethan made Sophia sad again? Ethan Carter said, "She doesn't want to be the third wheel. She's refusing to let me marry Ian Shu." Someone laughed and said, "Pfft, it's just not enough money. Once you throw enough money at her, she'll gladly be your dog. She's different. She's pure and innocent. She wouldn't do something so dishonorable." Ethan Carter replied seriously. More teasing came from inside. "Ethan must be serious about Sophia, right? What about your sister-in-law? You've been dating for 9 years, and you've finally made it to the wedding stage." Through the door, my heart was pounding in my throat, and my eyes welled up again. Ethan Carter replied, "Actually, after being in a relationship for so long, it's just the same." Exactly. Once you're married, you can only have your wife. No matter how she gains weight or ages, you can't show any disgust or disgust. "A married woman can't compare to a 20-something Sophia," Ethan Carter said with a smile. I couldn't handle that. They then engaged in a heated discussion about how to balance their marriage while maintaining their love for Sophia. They came up with a crazy idea: Ethan Carter should pretend to have cancer and disappear. Given how much your sister-in-law loves you, she'll search the world for you and wait for you to come back. By then, if you're tired of Sophia and want to marry her, you can just say it was a misdiagnosis. You'll still be able to marry her. Everyone clapped and cheered, clinking their glasses in celebration. Ethan Carter said, "There's still a month left before the wedding. Let's talk about it later." The cold rain pelted my face. Ethan Carter's reckless words echoed in my ears. He said that after being in a relationship for a long time, it's just the same. I tried to find evidence of his insincerity in my memories. But he had hidden it too well. 2 months ago, Ethan Carter and I got married. He said he was too busy with work to hold a wedding, so we postponed it to this month. It turned out he just didn't want to announce our marriage to the world. He didn't want to make Sophia sad. But I also remembered him telling me he would make me happy every day. When we argued, he would slap himself and apologize, no matter what. After graduation, when we were apart, he drove 300 miles just to spend my birthday with me. He kissed away my tears and tied all his joys and sorrows to me. All the beautiful memories flooded back into my mind, making my head spin. I wandered aimlessly through the bustling streets. I let my phone ring incessantly. I don't know how long I walked before the phone rang again. I instinctively reached for it, but saw the name, Grandma Ruth, on the screen. I answered the call and called out, "Grandma Ruth." There was a moment of silence on the other end. "Ian Shu, where are you?" It was Ethan Carter. He had gone to Grandma Ruth's house. Grandma Ruth is very old, and if she found out that Ethan Carter and I were having a fight, she would worry. "I'm sorry, I forgot to pick you up, Ethan Carter," I said softly. He sighed heavily and said, "It doesn't matter. As long as you're okay, where are you now?" "I'll come pick you up. I've been drinking, so I'll take a taxi to find you." "I'll come find you," I said. To avoid arousing Grandma Ruth's suspicions, I had no choice but to go to Grandma Ruth's house to find him. When he saw me, he reeked of alcohol, yet he still reached out to brush away the damp strands of hair on my cheek. The pain in his eyes, was it an act, or was it real? He handed me a towel to dry my hair and the tears at the corners of my eyes. "Why are you crying?" I made up an excuse, there was a thunderstorm, and I was scared. He hugged me and gently patted my back. Don't be afraid, your husband is here. Grandma Ruth told me that during the hours when the phone wasn't working, Ethan Carter was going crazy, thinking something had happened to me. Ethan Carter laughed awkwardly. I made a fool of myself in front of Grandma Ruth. My clothes were so wet, and my hair wasn't dry yet, so Grandma Ruth told me to go back to my room and take a hot bath, and come back out once the rain stopped. Grandma Ruth, as usual, went into the kitchen to prepare something for me to eat. I took a comfortable bath and changed into clean clothes. The rain had stopped outside. Ethan Carter was making a call in the yard. My wedding with Ian Shu won't be cancelled. She only has me besides Grandma Ruth. I can't abandon her. Faint cries could be heard on the other end of the phone. What about me? What am I? Am I just the canary you've been keeping for 3 years, Ethan Carter? So they'd been together for 3 years. I thought he'd been absent so often because he was busy with work, but it turned out his heart was elsewhere. Ethan Carter frowned. Sophia Bennett, stop being unreasonable. Even if I marry her, our relationship won't change. After saying that, he hung up the phone. He lit a cigarette, looking troubled. I turned and entered the kitchen, where Grandma Ruth had already simmered my favorite corn and pork rib soup. When facing Grandma Ruth, my mood improved significantly. I drank several bowls of soup, and Grandma Ruth smiled broadly. After finishing, Ethan Carter gathered my wet clothes and waited for me to go home together. Ethan Carter, I want to spend time with Grandma Ruth, I said. His mind seemed troubled at that moment, and he nodded instinctively upon hearing my words. The next second, he suddenly thought of something and said, the wedding is approaching, and we haven't taken our wedding photos yet. Grandma Ruth laughed and said, your wedding is important. I'm an old woman, I won't go anywhere. My dear granddaughter can visit me anytime. I remained silent. Ethan Carter noticed my reluctance and said, then I'll pick you up in 3 days and we'll go take them, okay? I nodded. Actually, I didn't really want to go back to the house I shared with Ethan Carter. I didn't want to see him. But while accompanying Grandma Ruth at the supermarket, I saw a young couple eating ice cream and laughing happily together, and it made me think of us in the past. Grandma Ruth noticed I was daydreaming and teased me. You've only been apart for a day, and you're already missing him? I looked away. No, Grandma Ruth. She laughed even harder. Ethan Carter is a good boy, just like your grandfather, deeply devoted and loyal. Remember when your grandfather and I first got married? We didn't have much, and the mosquitoes kept biting me all night. Your grandfather sat by the bed and chased them away all night long. Grandpa had passed away many years ago, but Grandma Ruth still talked about him often. The look of happiness on her face made it seem like her love for Grandpa was still as strong as ever. Ian Shu, when you love someone, it's for a lifetime. Grandma Ruth hopes you marry someone you love and live a happy life. I struggled to hold back the tears in my eyes and nodded. I saw 18-year-old Ethan Carter. The teenager who stood up for me in the alley. The teenager who stood firmly in front of me when I was mocked as an orphan. The teenager who always stood behind me in the dark alley. The summer breeze blew, gently rustling the curtains that brushed against my face. He raised his hand to shield his eyes from the glaring sunlight, smiling brightly. My eyes were filled with tears. He said, Ian Shu, I have to go. The boy's face gradually faded away. In the silent, pitch-black night, tears soaked my pillow. Youth turned back to look at me one last time. Saying goodbye to me for the last time. Ethan Carter was supposed to pick me up at 10 in the morning, but he was 2 hours late. He rushed over and apologized. The scent of gardenias was long gone from his body. Only the perfume of another woman remained. After days of soul-searching, I had calmed down. I didn't confront him, I let his poor acting go. After saying goodbye to Grandma Ruth, we hurried back to the city center. I tried on one wedding dress after another, but I couldn't find the happiness of being a bride. The staff couldn't help but compliment me. Miss, your matches this wedding dress perfectly. It elevates the dress to a whole new level. I glanced at Ethan Carter, who was sitting on the sofa, hugging his phone, not even bothering to look up. Those beautiful hands were typing furiously. I knew she was still angry. The staff member was about to notify Ethan Carter to pay, but he just answered the phone and walked toward the balcony, leaving the staff member a bit awkward. I walked toward the fitting room, holding the skirt of the dress myself. The staff member kindly offered to help. "Miss, would you like to book this one?" I smiled indifferently. "No, thank you." I left the bridal shop. I hailed a taxi and returned to that familiar home. The house was still exactly as I had left it. Corn saw me come back and lazily shook her body on the sofa. Meow. I picked her up and apologized to her with a guilty expression. "I'm sorry, Corn. Mom didn't think about you. You must have been so hungry these days." I fed her some cat food and added water to her special little water dispenser. She drank the water without lifting her head. I stroked her little head. "Corn, do you want to go with Mom?" She stopped drinking, rubbed against my hand, and meowed twice, seeming to agree. I held her close and kissed her repeatedly. "All right, wait for Mom for a while, and we'll go together." Half an hour later, Ethan Carter rushed back. I was packing my clothes. He burst into the bedroom unexpectedly, his tone accusatory. "Lillian Harper, what are you throwing another tantrum about? I just answered a phone call, and you won't even try on your wedding dress?" I didn't say a word. He interrupted what I was doing. "Speak." The neatly folded clothes were scattered in a mess on the bed. I stared at him for a long time. "You've never spoken to me like this before." His angry gaze froze for a moment before he realized his outburst and quickly composed himself. He wrapped his arms around me skillfully. "I'm sorry, Shu. I shouldn't have snapped at you. I packed all the wedding dresses you tried on today. I was worried you'd leave me behind." I forced a smile, but couldn't bring myself to match his cheerfulness. He finally noticed I was packing my clothes but didn't suspect anything, thinking I was preparing to move into the newly decorated villa. He said happily, "Why do you need these clothes? I'll buy you lots of new clothes, cosmetics, and jewelry to fill our wedding room in our new home. These old clothes are worn out and have lost their charm. Just leave them here in the apartment." I replied softly, "All right." Those clothes, carefully chosen for countless dates, were filled with too many memories. Leaving them here was fine. Over the next month, the visa application process was completed step by step. The time to leave Ethan Carter was drawing nearer. It seemed like Sophia Bennett had given in. She was willing to be his unmarried lover. Ethan Carter was overjoyed and shared the news with his brothers, but carelessly forgot to lock his screen. Sophia was finally appeased. His brothers chimed in. "How did you convince her?" Ethan Carter said, "She wants me to accompany her abroad for 3 years. Just 3 years. After that, she'll willingly follow my every arrangement." "So, you and your sister-in-law?" He replied, "I'll leave behind a cancer diagnosis report. After I'm gone, Shu will search the world for me. Please take care of her then." One of his brothers couldn't bear it anymore. "Ethan, we were just joking around back then. Are you really going to do this?" He was also helpless. "Sophia Bennett is too good at winning my favor. She's like a wild kitten, different from Shu in some ways. She's pretty interesting. If you like Sophia so much, why not just marry her? Why go through all this trouble?" Ethan Carter was very self-assured. "The novelty will fade. I can't guarantee I'll feel the same way about Qinghwan forever. Shu is different. Even if we lose the novelty, I've already grown accustomed to having her in my life." I kindly locked his screen and pretended nothing had happened. It seemed like he felt guilty toward me, so he took a day off specifically to take wedding photos with me, so that I would have something to think about during the 3 years he was gone. That day, he was very happy. And I had already grown numb. There were only 3 days left until the wedding. Ethan Carter disappeared. He left behind a pathology report confirming his cancer diagnosis and a single sentence. "You loved the sea, I loved you. I didn't cry or make a scene." I closed the drawer and placed the divorce agreement on the desk calmly. I took down the wedding photos in the apartment, cut out my photos, and took away all traces of my life there. Holding my corn, I held the newly obtained visa in my hand. With a calm heart, I left the place that had once been my home. I took a half-hour drive to Grandma Ruth's house. After hesitating for a long time, I finally gathered the courage to push open the door. I was thinking about how to tell Grandma Ruth about the end of my relationship with Ethan Carter, but she seemed to have already anticipated it. "You've finally come back." Grandma Ruth's face, marked by the years, was filled with a kind smile. I couldn't hold back my tears anymore. She stroked my head like she did when I was a child and said, "It's okay. Loving the wrong person is a normal thing. What's important is that you pick yourself up and accept life without him." I nodded with a smile. "Grandma Ruth, I want to see Charleston where you and Grandpa met. Will you come with me?" While waiting at the airport, Ethan Carter kept staring at the chat window from a week ago with Ian Shu. For some reason, he felt that Ian Shu had been acting strangely these past few days. A dull ache in his heart made it hard to breathe. It felt like something was missing. Even when he was busy with work and didn't come home for days, he never felt this empty and weightless. This time, it felt like he was losing her forever. As soon as the thought crossed his mind, he laughed. He and Sophia Bennett were just playing around. He would never abandon Ian Shu for another woman. They had been together for 9 years and rarely argued. Ian Shu was like a pool of water in spring, never asking for anything. "Ladies and gentlemen, our flight is about to depart. Please." Ethan Carter and Sophia Bennett were about to board the plane when the call came in. It was his assistant. "What's the matter?" Ethan Carter suppressed his impatience. The assistant panicked. "You're trending on social media." He laughed lightly. This was never a big deal.